A couple days ago, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez went on Twitter to post a video from the economist called Josh Mason to try and prove that her Green New Deal is a feasible economic plan. The gist of the video is that the Green New Deal is not just necessary to combat climate change, but it will actually help the American economy in much the same way that the New Deal helped America in the aftermath of the Great Depression.
Climate science is telling us that we're on track for over 3 degrees Celsius of warming this century. That means millions of deaths. It means billions of people at risk of losing their home to floods and deserts. It will mean refugee crises that dwarf what we're seeing today, and in the future, potentially, an uninhabitable planet. This is not something you can put a price on.
There's a lot to unpack there. First off, the Green New Deal isn't anywhere close to implementation right now. In the current version of the Green New Deal submitted to Congress, the document talks about upgrading every single building in the United States to achieve maximal energy efficiency, meeting 100% of the power demand in the US with renewable energy, and overhauling the entire US transportation system to eliminate pollution and greenhouse gases as much as is technologically feasible. Second, the Green New Deal talks about a whole lot more than just climate change. In Section 4H, the Green New Deal says that the government should guarantee a job with a family-sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations, and retirement security to every single person living in the United States. And that's just Section 4H. But sorry, let me continue letting Josh Mason here make his case.
Right now, millions of working-age people are unemployed in this country. Many millions more are underemployed. The labor force participation rate is 3 points lower than it was a decade ago. That represents an enormous amount of productive labor that is currently going to waste. Someone needs to spend money to put people to work, to give businesses a reason to boost investment and raise productivity.
So basically, what this guy and Alexandria Ocasio Cortez want you to believe is that we're facing really big economic challenges right now, and the only solutions to these problems is for the government to start putting lots of people to work redesigning everything in the United States. Where to begin? First off, the US economy is not doing badly right now. Right now, the unemployment rate is hovering around 4%, which is really low. Like, really low. Yes, a smaller share of prime-age adults have jobs than in past economic booms, but it's disingenuous to make the case that this is a huge problem that calls for tons and tons of additional spending. Second, a federal jobs guarantee might sound like a good idea, particularly one that results in forward climate progress, but there are two big problems with that idea. First, to hire all the official and unofficial unemployed at $15 an hour plus $3 per hour for benefits would cost the US government $450 billion annually, or 2.3% of GDP, and that price tag would obviously jump anytime there's an economic recession. In addition, that doesn't even take into account the fact that the Green New Deal wants to do more than just provide any old jobs. It wants to get people literally rebuilding US infrastructure from the ground up. The other big problem, and this is actually the bigger of the two, is that a federal jobs guarantee would encourage the 39% of the workforce currently earning less than $15 an hour to dump their current jobs and work in the public sector instead. Some employers would agree to raise their prices in order to raise the wages of their current employees, but others would just decide to cut a lot of their staff. This in turn would damage the private sector, cost the government a whole lot more money, and actually reduce the very innovation that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez wants.
We shouldn't think of the Green New Deal as an economic cost. It's actually the solution to our biggest economic problem. But can we pay for it? Easily. The Green New Deal will be funded the same way we paid for the original New Deal, the same way we paid for World War II. Congress will authorize the expenditures, and the Treasury will spend the money. Now, over time, that spending will be financed by some mix of borrowing and higher taxes, especially on the rich. Whether or not we need to raise taxes on the rich to pay for the Green Deal is honestly a bit beside the point. Taxing away extreme concentrations of income and wealth is good for our democracy.
So actually, this is I think the part of the video that reveals the most. Raising taxes on the rich, no matter what you think of that idea, isn't going to come close to paying for the multi-trillion-dollar price tag of the Green New Deal. And that's where people like this guy have to get creative, because either you have to deal with the idea that you're going to have to raise taxes on the middle class, and quite significantly raise taxes at that, or you're going to have to borrow. A lot. And the idea that the US can borrow significantly without impacting the economy is honestly as crazy as it sounds. Talking about the deficit is complicated, but drastically increasing the deficit without reason will cripple the US economy. It's that simple. Modern monetary theory, an idea that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez actually came out in favor of, suggests that increasing the deficit doesn't matter at all, because a currency producer like the US government can never go bankrupt. That idea is nonsense, because you still have the irreducible truth of the money equation, MV equals PY. If money grows too fast, it has to eventually outstrip output growth, and then inflation kicks in. There are plenty of examples of the destructive power of hyperinflation, and there's no doubt that we don't want to go there. Look, the Green New Deal is still in its early stages, and when more information comes out about exactly how Alexandria Ocasio Cortez plans to pay for all of her proposals, we can have another conversation. But for now, the idea that the Green New Deal will actually help the economy is just that, an idea. And it's not a very good idea either.